Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Veterans Rugby Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Another kind of rainy, overcast day. Naturally, a lot of calls at Hudco. Was over at the office yesterday morning for a meeting, and the phones rang the whole time. It's just, I know I say it a lot, but it's wild. Just whenever when it rains, phones ring. Makes sense, I guess. But business can be funny. So anyway, last night it rained threes late in the game for South Carolina, as the #1 Gamecocks upend LSU 76-70. Really disappointing, man. God, it was so disappointing. LSU just couldn't deliver the knockout blow. South Carolina led 2-0 to start the game, and didn't lead again until around the 5-minute mark of the ball game. So it's a bummer, man. And LSU hit some big shots late, but mostly defined by some key misses. And of course, Angel Reese filing out with about 4 minutes to play in the ball game was pretty devastating, because I also had to collapse the paint, left their shooters open, and they hit. So bummer, man. I mean, there had to be 3 or 4 times in the first half LSU led by 11 and could never stretch it past that. So South Carolina hit a 3 at the horn right at the end of the first half to make an 8-point lead 5 for LSU. And that's a bummer, man. Real bummer. Great atmosphere. Thought LSU defensively really ratcheted up, which has kind of been their problem. I mean, this team we know LSU can score. Their problem has been defending, and it was their problem again late. So anyway, it's a bummer. Just one, but it's a big one. I mean, that's the one that probably, cost you the SEC regular season championship. Because now that's 2 conference losses for LSU. It's hard, and South Carolina is undefeated. It's hard to imagine, even if they drop 1, it's hard to imagine them dropping 2. They would have to drop 3 and you out. So it probably does it for the SEC regular season championship, but they're not in it to win the regular season league title. They're in it for bigger goals, keep improving, and hopefully that's a big step for LSU after yesterday. So in any event, Tigers fall 76-70 to South Carolina. Let me know what y'all got. Fire away, questions, comments, etc. Anything y'all got. We'll roll here. Pels back on the floor tonight against OKC. Western Conference leading Oklahoma City Thunder. It's a big opportunity tonight for New Orleans at home. Fell on their face last Friday against the Suns. See what they can do tonight against OKC. And onward. Okay. Let me see what y'all got. We'll say some good mornings. Lowell Cormier, Charlie Cavell, good morning. Jason Horn, good morning. What kicks we going with today? I got Air Force Ones today. I like these a lot. The green and orange. I love the laces on them as well. So, got my G Nikes today. Kelly Gross, Mark Vitanovich. I spent $2,800. You spent $2,800 on what? Mark, you spent $2,800 on tickets yesterday? You crazy if you did. Henry Gordon Bennett, good morning. No way LSU's women can contend with top-notch teams, only 6 players. You definitely saw depth was an issue. Angel Reese's 4th foul, I know there's going to be a lot of discussion about, and should be. It was where she was falling down. They said she grabbed the South Carolina defender and pulled her down. thought it was a pretty terrible call. But overall, I thought they really let him play. So I don't have much of a gripe about the officials. But Jim Arsenault, good morning. Mark, Hudco will do well after all these storms. Phones ring after storms, there's no doubt. When it rains, let us know. Got a roof issue, we'd love to help you out. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Justin Holman, LSU's got too many divas, not enough ball players. I couldn't disagree with that more. That's just like because Angel Reese wears pink nail polish and a sleeve on her leg, she's a diva. She busts her behind on both ends of the floor. I thought LSU played really hard. They just clearly ran out of gas because they're not deep enough. And Michaela Williams had an off night shooting. That doesn't happen often to her. I mean, she's a great player. Angel fouled out. You played you played the best team in the country. You played the number one team in the country. All right. So Dale said what players are out of eligibility for next year. So Haley Van Lith is the only senior on the team. So you are young, and it's also not super common that you have players leave early for the WNBA draft. The money just in the WNBA isn't good, and now with NIL, you can make money, and a lot of these athletes are going to be more famous and marketable in college than they would be in pro. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Anissa Moro's a junior, Angel's a junior, so they could certainly come back. But, I mean, Michaela's a freshman. Del Rosario's a freshman who needs to kind of mature physically a little more. Anyway, I mean, it'll be fine. Kim will keep recruiting, and it's one game. I mean, I'll remind you, last year LSU went to Columbia and lost by 24 and won the national championship. It's far, far from over. It was disappointing, man. They just didn't finish last night. Cliff Nelson, good morning. David Gilmore, Wendell Norman, Adam Parker, Matt Plavidal, good morning. Thoughts on Kaan Booty? Thought on his username. I don't know. Like, I saw on Twitter, I think someone said like his username was like Kaan Booty 01, but that can't be true. He was using an alias. So, if it is, I mean, I agree. But yeah, what a wild story for those that didn't see it yesterday. Kaan Booty was arrested apparently while he was in Baton Rouge at LSU. He used an alias to use a sports betting app when he was 20 years old and placed 8,900 bets, which is just, I know some people are going to think, 8,900 bets seems excessive. Not really. I mean, Jimmy gives us otter locks every day. Sometimes there's 3-5 games a night. If you bet them all, it's just, what's a unit? Or do you split it? Or you bet $5, $10, $20, so I don't think the number of bets is really that egregious. But over a year's time. But, I mean, just, I was talking to a guy yesterday who's an NFL agent, and he basically said that's Kaan will be done in the NFL. Like, can't see him get another contract, which kind of get it, man. If you're the NFL, the last thing in the world you could have happen, like the worst possible thing, is a Pete Rose situation where you have guys betting on their games. And that's what Kaan did. He was betting on LSU games. He was betting on like prop bets on himself. I mean, come on. Nick Newbill, morning, Matt. That was a heck of a game. Can't be mad. Push forward to the NCAA tournament. Brian Penn, good morning from San Antonio. Keep Big Ben in your prayers. Oh, Ben McDonald. Yeah, Ben McDonald posted on social media last night that his dad passed away yesterday. So Ben's a great guy, man. I was actually, it's funny. It was not funny, just coincidental. I was talking to Terrio yesterday, and Terrio in his office has like a deer head mounted, and he was telling me yesterday, literally, like that he shot that deer with Ben McDonald's dad on Ben's property, I think in Mississippi or something. It was interesting that just yesterday Terrio was talking about Ben's dad, and then last night we found out he passed. Russell Jory, morning Matt, from Russell and Raleigh. Didn't Van Lith make a couple of ill-advised pass attempts? I'm sure. I'm not going to go back and watch the game film or anything, Russell, but I will say this about Haley Van Lith. She's a shooting guard, and to her credit, this team needed a point guard, and she's learning a new position as a senior transfer, new team. I do think about what it would mean for this team if Alexis Morris had another year of eligibility. If Alexis Morris was on this team running your point, and Van Lith could play shooting guard, and then you could bring Michaela Williams off the bench to back up Van Lith at the 2. We'd have a decidedly different feel, but anyway, just one. Taz, did you see Dan Campbell being this good of a coach, being he was a tight ends coach first? Well, it's impossible to know, Taz. I mean, because the tight ends coach doesn't always get the most publicity, right? But that's why I think that's one of the things that's so hard to stomach is the Saints had him in-house and clearly should have known that was a leader of men, right? And you can't fault Dan Campbell for leaving to go take a head coaching job. But you can fault the Saints for not identifying it because clearly they chose wrong with Dennis Allen. Will Davis, good morning. ML Fody. I'm not a basketball guy, but it seemed like Van Lith kept getting lost on D. Taz said LSU needs 3-point shooters bad. They got him, man. Van Lith can shoot. Michaela Williams can shoot. Michaela just had an off night last night. That's all there is to it. Like it's Michaela Williams last night was Michaela Williams last night was 27% from the floor. I think she was 1 of 10 from 3. Let me check real quick. Hang on. Michaela was 1 of 10 from 3. Like, that's just not going to happen to her. I mean, it was a bad time to have an off night, but Michaela Williams is great. She's a freshman averaging 16. She was the number 1 player in the country coming out of high school. She's been awesome this year. Averaging 16, 5, and 3 as a true freshman. She's phenomenal. She just was 1 of 10 last night from 3. That was her most 3-point attempts on the season. The next most attempts she's had is 8, and she was 4 of 8 in that game. So she was 5 of 8 against Kent State. You're just not going to have many days where Michaela Williams is 1 of 10 from 3. It's not her fault they lost the game, but I don't buy that LSU needs 3-point shooters. They got plenty of shooters on this team. They got plenty of. So I need some more. They got plenty of scorers on this team. Just lost, man. Had a big lead, couldn't stretch it out. They lost. It happens. Cliff, good morning, Uncle Scone. Great atmosphere in the PMAC, tough loss. What can you tell me about this Weller Antique 107? 107 proof, old Weller Antique. Little hot. A lot of people, if you like hot whiskey, they love the Weller Antique. That's the red label Weller up there. But it's a good one, man. Of the Wellers, it's not my favorite, but it's fantastic. They're all great. All the Wellers are great. Jesse Brown, Jay, the Vitruvio man. Great basketball environment. I was blown away. Kudos LSU. I mean, that is the thing that I hope isn't lost from yesterday because LSU lost. Is how incredible that was, man. To have fans on the ramp like they did, students before the game, uh, the whiteout place was packed to the gills. It was a great atmosphere. Game day was there on the floor. It was great exposure for LSU for women's basketball. And I think it just continues to show how sellable and marketable that product is and can be. It's come a long way, man. Brett DeGrow, morning Scone. PMAC was rocking last night. Ladies are about 2 players short of depth. We need to win those games. Poole gone, Smith hurt, might keep them from back to back. That's a good point. I mean, Kateri Poole would have been another another post who's not there with championship experience, obviously, and Samaya Smith tore ACL, and so she's done for the year. So, yeah, I mean it's an astute observation for sure. I mean, those two definitely would have gotten minutes, and so it's cut your rotation down. Jacob Thompson, Brian Wynn, Larry Garner, Tim Gotro. Good morning. Could you include the Texas A&M drop when there is no news on them? It always makes me chuckle. Hey, Rebecca Claire, good morning. Yes, on around the SEC, we have the voice guy that's like, the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Florida Gators. Well, for Texas A&M, I had Musso pull the Texas A&M yell leader at midnight yell, go, Texas A&M! So that's what we use. Pretty good. Thomas Primo, good morning. Was the first women's basketball game I've ever watched. Coach Kim is killing it. Go Tigers. So that's kind of the point too, right? So Thomas is admitting it's the first women's game he's ever watched. So they're bringing new people to the fold because they're interesting. Like they're worth watching. Cliff, nothing was cheap. The pair we had were $2,500 each. That's crazy. I mean, to each their own. Like I always say, I'll never tell anybody how to spend their money, but I just couldn't. My view was just fine at Pluckers, man. Thanks to everybody who came out too. It was a great night last night at Pluckers. Got to meet a lot of people and really good crowd. Handed out a ton of swag, so it was really cool. Y'all do me a favor, please smash that like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there as always. William Moore, Bailey C. We talk year round about dudes in tight pants tackling each other. Pretty wild. Okay. I mean, in a literal sense, yes, but Earl, what's going on? So, Matt, if you had to guess what LSU starting rotation looked like. Yeah, so today is LSU Baseball Media Day, by the way. So, Jay will meet with reporters, and then LSU has their first workout of the season. So, LSU Baseball back on the field today. Rotation, Thatcher Hurd, Luke Holman, Gage Jump. I think that'll be your rotation. If I had to guess today. Brent St. Germain, good morning. Maybe the Falcons passed on Belichick because he wanted $28.3 million a season. Well done. Brandon Hoyt, they went toe-to-toe with the best team in the country. I'm not worried. Look at what LSU did last year against them. Yes. Remember 2 years ago at home, LSU nearly nipped South Carolina. But they haven't been able to climb that mountain. You know, it's, I know we talked about it last year. It's like if Iowa, Caitlin Clark and Iowa did LSU a huge favor by beating South Carolina. Because if LSU had to go against South Carolina in the championship game last year, I don't think they win that game. It was a bad matchup for LSU. But Caitlin Clark went wild in the national semifinal, scored a bajillion points, and they beat South Carolina. And that created a more favorable matchup for LSU. But that's how tournaments work. So anything can happen when you get in the tournament. Upsets happen every year in the tournament. So it's not a best of 7. It's survive and advance. So see how they look when they get there. Laura, what's going on? Laura Golbev. Could have used Kateri Poole, no doubt. Kenneth Westbrook. Earl, Matty, surprised Saints haven't pulled trigger on an OC yet. No, and the other reason too, Earl, is remember they might still want to talk to coaches that are still playing. I mean, you got 4 teams still playing, and it may be that they can't move on an OC if, like, let's say they've decided on Clint Kubiak, just hypothetically. Well, I mean, he's still coaching right now, so Glenn Laurie, morning. I enjoy your segment with Sean Salisbury every week. I agree Brian Greasy would be my top pick for OC. That surprised me. That if you missed it earlier this week when Sean was here, we went through the known candidates that the Saints have interviewed for OC. And I said, Sean, all right, at the time there were 7, but 2 of them had already taken jobs. Dan Pitcher is being promoted in Cincinnati, and Shane Waldron, the Seahawks OC, or passing game coordinator, is taking the job in Chicago. So I listed the 5 at the time known candidates that hadn't yet taken a job, and he said Greasy would have been his choice, which it was interesting to me. Greasy's only coached for 2 years. I mean, he played for a long time and then was a broadcaster for 10 years before getting into coaching, but I gave some good reasons for it. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Scone page, share the post. We appreciate y'all. Reed Rule, happy Friday, Scone. Great game, great crowd. Depth will be a problem, but no reason we can't still make the Sweet 16, Elite 8, or Final 4, or win the national championship. I mean, nobody at this point last year when LSU lost to South Carolina by 24 was thinking that team would win the national championship. Ryan Dixon, Weston Weaver, Von Bluesman, good morning. Prince St. Germain. Reed, Scone, you have to think a lot more guys in Booty are using at least some of their NIL money for that. The thing about Kayshawn is he wasn't using his NIL money for sports betting. One of the big things with Kayshawn is that he wasn't getting a lot of NIL money, which is why he nearly left, and Gordon stepped up and made sure that he didn't. But Kayshawn just made a lot of bad decisions. Are there other guys who have apps and are sports betting? Probably. But I don't know that definitively, and I'm not going to indict anybody here. Yeah, so Vaughn said, will Booty's betting cause any legal problems for LSU? Vaughn, I don't think so. I don't know how it would, and I don't know that there's anything written into bylaws anywhere. I mean, if somehow they proved like LSU was tanking games or something like that, if there's like a cheating scandal, but I don't know, but it's so hard to imagine that LSU would be liable for any of this. All right, a couple more here. Tiger Diver, morning, Scone. My Nike SB Forces came in. What's the best way to clean them when needed? Well, there's protector spray that you can buy that I have that you spray your shoes before, right when you get them. And so it'll make them repellent, easier to clean. There's I'll tell you what I used. There's a kiosk at the mall, and I know it because when we take Drew there, but I'm sure you could find it anywhere. It's Magic. It's just MGK, and it's a cleaner and a brush that you just use. You put this material on the bristles, use hot water, and then you just scrub it, and it'll take them off. So it'll take all. I mean, I've had dirty shoes. That stuff works great. Somebody's up. I'm sure he's faking season. He's like, oh, excuse me. I can hear him saying that. Ryan Dixon, Haley Van Lith struggles at the point. Miss Alexis Morris. Remember, you're right, but remember, Haley Van Lith has never played point in her life. She's a shooting guard, and she's only playing that this year because they don't have point guard. And I remember talking to Kim. Terrio was in studio, and we talked to Kim off air, and she's like, guys, I got scores. I don't worry about that. We're going to score the ball. I just don't know who's going to play point guard for me. I mean, she knew. She knew that was her biggest question. Hang on one second. Drew's up. Let me go get it. Go. I got a guest.
The books.
Oh, my boy. Okay. Okay. Hey. Who do you see? Who do you see? Huh? Hey, who do you see? Who do you see?
Drew.
Drew. Can you say good morning?
Good morning.
Say good morning, Dad Show.
Good morning, Dad.
Oh, sweet. What day is today?
Friday.
It's Friday. I love you. I love you. I love you, Drew. I love you, Drew.
Oh, Daddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Okay. I love you.
Yes.
Yes. Somebody's waking up on his own now. Huh? Vaughn said, that's where all the crawfish are. They're on your pajamas. Who's on your pajamas? Is that crawfish?
Yes.
Yeah, what color is the crawfish?
Red.
Red.
What color is your jam?
What color is Drew's jammies?
White.
White. Drew's jammies are white, but the crawfish is red. Good job. Hey, what letter starts red?
R.
Good job. Air Tech, it's the Morning Drew Show. It is. Where are we? Let's see. Fat Boy Slim, Brian Wynn, Cliff Nelson, Brett the Grow, Reed Rule. They're all saying good morning to you. They're all saying good morning. Cozy Cotters, what's your opinion on Matt McMahon? He said it's early to put him on the hot seat. Hard to accept him fully. We fired a coach that was getting us to the tournament every year. So I don't know any other way to say this. Like, I've said this a million times. We've had this conversation over and over again. I'll keep repeating it, I guess, because I don't have any other choice but to continue to say the same thing till it makes sense or till it finally resonates with everybody. But number one, LSU didn't have a choice but to fire Will Wade, okay? The NCAA was holding the LSU football investigation up and holding that over their head until they got their pound of flesh with Will Wade. They were never going to let football go until they got their pound of flesh with Will Wade. So, yes, they made Will Wade the sacrificial lamb to save football, and that was the right decision. Okay, well, we're almost done with Dad Show. We're going to get dressed, okay? And then we're going to go to New St. Lillian. Okay, videos first. Okay. So, LSU had no choice. They had a choice, but they didn't have a good choice. So they fired Will Wade to preserve football, which was the right thing to do. And I'll remind you, as much as I love Will Wade, his voice was on the wiretap. Okay? Like every other school that was involved in that FBI investigation, all the other coaches had some lackey do their dirty work. Okay? Will didn't. I love Will. I mean, it's my bud, right? But let's be real. It was his voice on the wiretap. He didn't really leave his employers much of a leg to stand on. Now, all that, put it aside. Matt McMahon's a really good coach, and I think he's going to do great. Last year, total punt, he inherited a program that it was impossible to recruit because you didn't know if you were going to get sanctioned. Postseason bans, scholarship restrictions, and 2 weeks after he took the job, he had no scholarship players. Last year was as close to the death penalty as you could be without getting the death penalty. So this really is like year one. And they were picked 13th in the conference and didn't have a single player on the preseason first or second team all SEC. You have got to calibrate your expectations accordingly and understand what they are and what this season is. So, I think Matt McMahon's a really good coach. The signing class that he has for next year has some studs in it, and they're going to get their NIL in order, and they're going to start being able to field a roster, to put a roster on the court that's going to be able to compete in the SEC. And he'll coach them great because he's a really good coach. So if you're talking a hot seat for Matt McMahon a year and a half in when his first year was a total punt, like, you need to recalibrate. Anyway, it's 8:01. I got to go. Y'all have a great day. Please smash the like button, subscribe up on the YouTube channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We'll see you for AFR 3. Peace. I'm out of here.